If you're looking for the right time to quit your job, the answer is never, but it might be yesterday.
Have you ever wondered what it takes to start your own machine tool business? Today, we're here with Ethan Leer of Leer Custom Machine, who started his business at the ripe age of 20 years old. Today, he's moved into the new 13,000 square foot building that you see behind us, running 5 machines with 2 on the way tomorrow. You'll learn how he started his machine tool business from scratch and how you can do the same. Let's go have a look. Appreciate you showing us off the brand new building, literally ribbon cutting earlier today.
Oh yeah, well thanks for making it. Ribbon cutting's a bit of a stretch, but we were kind of, I guess, the equivalent of breaking ground. We just got all the equipment in here. There's still a lot of stuff to still move in though.
How did you get into the business of manufacturing and into the machining world?
Real early on, I was out in my grandpa's shop. I'm trying to build a gun, and I find out and I realize immediately that I am under-equipped, under-skilled, and have no clue what I'm doing beyond like some things I've read on the internet, and I'm like, I need to learn how to make things. And I looked into gunsmithing schools and trade schools. And another good thing that's really helped me a lot is I've worked in several different shops. Probably, it's probably one of those fields that if you're gonna run a business, at some point you need to work in it for a little bit for someone else.
Yeah.
As an employee, you need to really pay close attention to how companies are running.
At what point did you decide I want to work for myself simultaneously?
Oh, I was already doing it, and it was well known. I've always had my own thing going on. I was always happy early on if it was always just a side gig, because doing it correctly is also expensive and time consuming.
Yeah.
So real early on, I was always sought out jobs that would be supportive of that.
Yeah. Having that established business for as long as you did, it was so smart and so prudent. And hopefully a lot of people watching this video that's one takeaway of like, when you're ready to start that journey is file the business as soon as possible.
Oh yeah.
Because the clock starts to tick, and the longer you've been in business shows you're more stable. You've been around, you know what you're doing. And the culmination of factors is, you had that one small Tormach loan or lease, something that was reported.
I think it was a lease. It was a real simple lease. It was very small. It was like just a couple $1,000s.
Couple thousand,
and, it's
and now you've got business credit.
When we put that machine in our shop at home, we had built a room in my garage, just enough room. I mean, when I was working in there was just enough room. There was the machine and a toolbox right behind it. It was like a single car garage set up, and it was, we packed it full, and I worked in that for about a year, maybe a year and a half, and it did pretty well.
What was the defining moment when you said, hey, I need to go all in and quit my day job?
I went to IMTS, I want to say the first one after the pandemic. The Haas came out with the UMC 350, and I found that, and I bought it. And at that point, I had a pretty steady flow of work coming in, and it got to kind of a point where I'm working 2 full-time jobs. And I had actually gone to my employer and I said, hey, things are going pretty well for me. We had a conversation, and kind of the discussion, I asked him for like some part-time, maybe I come in and leave at noon. And so he kind of says like, hey, you got to pick one or the other.
Wow. And so he like pushed you out of the nest.
Yeah, yeah. It was a very polite way to do it too. It was a good push, and I liked working for him. Well, the short answer is if you're looking for the right time to quit your job, the answer is never. Obviously, because it's stable and secure and it's safe. And it's not always the safe move for everyone. I mean, obviously, if you have family or whatever obligations that you had to have and you need a certain level of security, the answer when it's time to quit your job might be never, but it might be yesterday.
How old were you when you made that decision to quit your job?
I was 24.
Wow.
If you're gonna take that risk, the younger you are, the more risk you can take. At the current point right now, if my business didn't succeed, I could still potentially go in and work for a reputable company and make good money and still have a retirement. But if you wait till a later point in life, maybe you save your money, you take your life savings and you invest in a business, the business could fold, and then you end up at a much later point with nothing if your business doesn't succeed. So the level of risk that you have to tolerate is a big thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Obviously, as my business grows, I'm gonna pull back on the type of risk I'm willing to take.
Right. What would you say to the person watching this that aspires to be an entrepreneur like yourself, somebody that's maybe in machining, manufacturing, and they want to start their own business? What would you say is required in order to be successful like yourself?
The first one is like, there's really no days off. The reality is there's no days off. I think it's easy kind of bite off more you can chew, or think it's luxury, or there's all kinds of money. It does involve a certain level of frugalness and long-term patience to reward. I think a lot of people get stuck seeing like Instagram or whatever, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna start a business, and they think, oh, I'm gonna drive around a fancy car and be able to go on vacations all the time. That's not really the case. A lot of it involves turning down my friends, hey, do you wanna hang out? No, I'm sorry, I've got work to do. But there's a lot of reward to it on that long term.
When do you know it's time to invest in another machine?
I'm really guilty of this. I like to buy a small machine and use as much of the machine as I can. I have a 20-inch table, I'm gonna make 20-inch parts on a 20-inch table. But like when I went to buy the 5-axis over the 3-axis, what can I buy that takes from time I get a blueprint to the time customer gets a part and touches my hands the least? So obviously with the 5-axis, even with basic indexing, saves tons of time.
Okay, so efficiency in terms of time, efficiency in terms of space.
Yep.
And efficiency in terms of like manpower.
Yeah.
So like we don't have the robot here today, but typically you'd have like the cobot setup.
Yeah,
correct?
I have a cobot that sits on the 5-axis, which is available. I don't use it a ton, but when you need it, it has to be there. I mean,
it's almost like you're optimizing for efficiency in all facets.
You have to. I mean, generally, one person can't run 5 machines. So sometimes a part of my business strategy is, and a very large portion, is buying equipment that specializes and makes things work.
How do you do so much on your own? You know, as a one-man shop, how do you keep up with everything between running the machines, creating the parts, programming, the administrative side of the business?
Some of this is just finding teams to work with you. Like, so the accounting, I hire an accounting firm. There's no reason not to. My wife helps me with a lot of administrative tasks. As far as programming goes, I do all the programming. Some of this is just job shop work and workflow strategy. When I'm running aluminum parts, I'm gonna accept more aluminum parts. When I start running, stainless steel parts, I start accepting more stainless steel parts, because I don't want to tear down tools. I want to use the same tools on our machines.
Yeah. So one of those outsourcing, or I guess like leveraging partners. So that kind of brings us to how we met. I looked it up before, so there's technically 7 machines that you financed. How has that partnership been for you? Like, has it gone, I think it seems like it's gone well, right?
It's really good that you guys are really understanding on what the equipment does and how it makes money and how it works.
Yeah.
So finding a specialty vendor that understands what you're buying and the market you're in is also really important. You guys really do a good job taking care of us. You get us the terms we're looking for, or help us meet in the grounds and find that usually what happens is I pick something and I add a couple more things to it.
Yeah, right.
Whether it's some kind of tool to make our life better, some kind of soft costs. And then again, something that Contend does is they do cover some soft costs, and that helps a ton.
Today obviously marks a huge feat in opening this brand new 13,000 square foot facility. What do you see for the next few years?
We'd like to add additional machines. We'd like to add additional buildings in the future, larger equipment, more specialty equipment, specialized production, robotics, and automation in a larger scale, and employ multiple people would be a really ideal situation. I'd like to employ 10 or 15 people on a large scale if I was going to do that. On a smaller scale, on like a more realistic scale, I wouldn't mind having like 2 or 3 more machines. I currently plan to keep buying 1 machine a year as I go, and I wouldn't mind hiring a programmer, an operator, and just kind of, even on keeping it small, and just make it a really good place to work for even if 1 or 2 people.
That's cool. Thanks for having us here today, and congratulations on this new building. You talk about seeing your success and the progress every day. This is definitely a moment where you can look back, and at least for me, I'm proud of you. So I feel like I'm sure you're super proud.
This is certainly a big step for me, and we're excited about it.
Yeah. So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed this video. For more manufacturing content, check out our other videos.